As you start to walk on the way appears. Have you heard that quote by the poet Rumi? There are many variations of it. As you start to walk on the way appears. It's like the leap of faith scene in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. You may have noticed, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, that I don't go to movies. So all my film references are 30, maybe more years old. In The Last Crusade, Indiana Jones steps out into the abyss and the bridge appears under his feet. My face in my first Instagram Live this past week was only a little less terrified than Indiana Jones in that movie as he steps off the cliff into certain death, a leap of faith, and then it's done. The bridge appears. The way appears. And Indiana Jones crosses the chasm. And for me, the Instagram Live connects with others. And I suddenly have this new chance to learn how to use technology and connect with people. And my hope is that after a couple dozen more of them, live streams will never be a big deal again. So now you start thinking about yourself. Where do you need to take a little leap of faith? Where do you need to start walking the way? Ask yourself, what do I want? Why do I want it? And what am I willing to trade for it, to give up for it, and to pay for it? And if it's just some awkwardness, some embarrassment, and self-doubt, you are in the right place. Hello, Vedge Heads and Vedge Your Besties. Welcome back. Welcome back to Vedge Your Best, the plant-based podcast. My name's Michele Olander. I'm a certified life coach, a practicing vegan, and I'm here every single week to encourage you to eat more plants and to set an impossible goal, whatever that is for you. And today is episode 50. Episode 50, and we're going to call it Leap of Faith. Because you know what? This feels like a big deal to me. Episode 50 only exists because I took a leap of faith on episode 1. And even before that, I took a leap of faith in contacting Charlie Weinshank, who's my sound guy, and asking for his help and support in setting this all up. So that was one leap of faith. And here we are at episode 50. And I'm so grateful to all the people who've been encouraging to me along the way. And if you're new here, if you're new to Vedge Your Best, welcome. It's my goal to offer you a few minutes every week to think about your life from a slightly different angle, to interrupt some thoughts you maybe have in your life, and to notice in your life how thoughts are always creating the results you have. Your thoughts are creating results in your life in ways you like, and in ways you're okay with, and also in ways you don't like. And I think it's fun to experiment with changing our lives by playing around and changing those thoughts. So, if you follow my every move on social media, and I can't actually imagine what else you would be doing. Well, you may have found out or seen that I have committed to doing 30 live streams on Instagram or on Facebook over the next month or so. Over the next month, as we close in on my first anniversary of the Vedge Your Best podcast. So this is episode 50, and as of this recording, I have finished 2 live streams on Instagram. And I'll be doing another one right after I finish this recording. And yes, I tried Facebook, but I got a message that my camera was unsupported by my browser. I don't know. Don't care. It will either get figured out or it won't. But my technology is compatible with Instagram live streams, so I've done 2 so far as of this recording. I learned where you click the little words where you click to start your live. And I learned that the way I had set up my camera was not super flattering. And I learned how to read the comments of who was watching. And yeah, I actually had people make comments and check in. And now I know that you need glasses. Well, that I need glasses. I need glasses if I'm going to try and read the comments and answer the questions. So, I've had Instagram for years, a long time, and I've had my coaching business for a couple years and my podcast for a year now, and I have never, ever done a live stream until this week. So I learned that on a live stream, it's currently, at least for me, pretty impossible to have notes or a topic outline because there's just too much going on. So now that I've done it a little bit, twice, my brain has made a teeny tiny folder of things that would maybe be appropriate to say in the future when I'm on a live stream. So far, I've just been babbling on live streams, both of them, with no real thought out plan of action. So I don't recommend you go on Instagram and seek out those first couple Instagrams of mine for their inspiring content because there's really none. But what you might want to look at them for, and yes, I've saved them on IGTV, gulp. I've saved them so you can see them if you simply follow Vedge Your Best on Instagram. And the reason I saved them, what you might want to look at them for, what might be the tiniest bit inspiring is that I clearly did not know what I was doing, and I did it anyway. I did it anyway. And I happen to know some of you need to hear that. Some of you need a permission slip that you can do something without knowing how to do it. I know some of you have a nice life and you've already got a lot going on, and maybe you're thinking you don't really need any more problems, or maybe you don't need to do something that a bunch of people might have judgment about or make comments about. Or maybe you're thinking you're not really ready yet to try that thing or learn that thing. Maybe it's not a good time. Listen, I spent way more hours thinking about when and how and what going live on Instagram was going to involve. And actually, I don't even think it took me 30 seconds to start it. Just a couple seconds. I found the word live and I pressed it. And a few minutes just to spend on there and see what transpired. And you know what? I actually connected with a couple of people. As you start to walk on the way appears. As you start to go on social media lives, the way appears. As you start to limit animal products, the way appears. As you start to ask yourself what you want, the way appears. The bridge appears. So have you been thinking about you? I really hope so, because that's the whole point of this. It's the only point of this. I only ever talk about myself here to try and encourage you to think about yourself. For me, it's super uncomfortable to talk about myself because my default brain loop is always saying, who do you think you are? Why would anyone need to listen to you? People like you better when you're quiet. You might just be making a fool of yourself. You're not good at this. And more, right? I started to notice along the way that I'm not the only one who has this tape running in her head. And maybe listening to me do this, watching me do this, maybe that gives one of you or some of you a little permission to show up in your life a little differently. I'm hoping. Maybe that means veg your best. Maybe it means to give yourself permission to move towards a plant-based or vegan lifestyle imperfectly. Or maybe it means you give yourself permission to be a beginner somewhere else in your creative life, in your relationships, maybe in your career or with your clothes or your appearance or with your fitness or maybe in your education. Where do you need to take a little leap of faith? Where do you need to start walking the way so the way can appear? Because whatever that is, whatever it is that you want, if you're willing to be uncomfortable, if you're willing to feel a little, for want of a better word, barfy and embarrassed and self-conscious and doubtful and disappointed and scared, I'm telling you, the way will appear. And if it's something important to you, well, the bad news is that it will most likely feel uncomfortable, maybe even awful. But the good news is the way will appear, because discomfort is the currency of our dreams. We've talked about that here, right? So ask yourself, what do I want? Why do I want it? And what am I willing to trade for it, to give up for it, or to pay for it? I think a lot of us really understand the idea of paying money for something we want, paying someone for something we want. In fact, a lot of my clients just want to pay someone to fix them, to fix the problem for them, to give them the answer, to show them a formula, to give them the book or recommend the manual or share the link to the YouTube video that will explain the process clearly. They want to buy the course. But are you willing to be uncomfortable for what you really want? And listen, I wasn't for a long time, and sometimes I am still not. Sometimes it's still a problem for me. The only thing that stood between me and my Instagram live streams, well, what was it? It was a feeling. It was feeling dumb. It was feeling unattractive and old and foolish. Now, I'm not sure about you, but I don't love those feelings. Dumb, unattractive, old, foolish. They feel horrible. But they are only feelings. And one thing I've learned over the past few years is feelings aren't lethal. When I'm in the icy grip of oh gosh, embarrassed and doubt and self-loathing and fear of what other people are thinking about me, I know that I'm just a few feelings away from the way appearing. What do you want? Why do you want it? What are you willing to pay for what you want? What are you willing to trade for what you want? What are you willing to give up for what you want? One of my clients this week sent me a screenshot of an Oprah Winfrey quote, "You get in life what you have the courage to ask for." And it's a good message, right? Because the courage that we need to ask for what we want, that courage is most of the time just the willingness to be really uncomfortable, to feel foolish, to feel judged, to feel unimportant, a willingness to be, in a position of feeling like an imposter, or to feel unattractive or unloved, the willingness to feel scared. When people start going plant-based, when they start moving towards a vegan lifestyle, they often have trouble asking for what they want. For this exact reason. Whether it's asking for what they want from their spouse or their family member or at a restaurant, they're uncomfortable with what they think others might be thinking about them. So, okay, I ordered the salad with no cheese, but they left the cheese on. I'm not even 100% vegan yet. Is it annoying for me to send it back? And look at me, I'm wearing leather shoes. They're going to think I'm a hypocrite. I hear this from my clients all the time. And FYI, people send back a lot of things for a lot of reasons, and people do judge us for all sorts of reasons that even in our wildest imaginations, we can't imagine. But yes, everything you ask for probably annoys someone sometimes, right? But you have practice, you have experience with the things you routinely ask for. Like, so dressing on the side, no pickles, whole wheat bread, extra lemon wedges, no hot peppers, toasted, brown rice, not white, wrapped separately, whatever it is, whatever you ask for, you might get rolled eyes, right? They might say no. They might tell you it's extra. They might ignore you. They might laugh about you. They might laugh about you behind your back or do imitations of the way you looked when you asked for it later on tonight with their friends. But you can handle that. You handle things like that all the time. But if you're like me, there are some areas, for some reason, we feel super vulnerable about. Now, that doesn't mean that, like me, you have to run to your Instagram app and do a live stream just because it's absolutely terrifying. It's just good to notice. It's good to notice what you are asking for and what you aren't. It's good to be curious about what you are willing to be judged for and what you aren't. Where are you willing to be a little demanding? Where are you willing to be a little extra specific and maybe a trifle high maintenance? And where aren't you? It's always super interesting. And no one can really do this but you. You know, a coach can, for sure, help you and help you move through a lot of this quicker. But the work is always your own work. I love this Marcel Proust quote. We don't receive wisdom. We must discover it for ourselves after the journey that no one else can take for us or spare us. I'm going to repeat that one. Marcel Proust. We don't receive wisdom. We must discover it for ourselves after a journey that no one can take for us or spare us. It sounds prettier in French, but I am currently unwilling to face the possible judgment from some of you of my French accent and pronunciation. Maybe I will take a leap of faith and speak French in public someday. And there's actually a Post-it note in my office that says, do an interview on TV or radio. I can't remember if it says TV or radio in French. Do an interview on TV or radio in French. And that has been a long time dream for me, to speak French well enough to accomplish that. Who knows? I haven't thought of that in a while. Maybe. There's always another leap of faith. What's the leap of faith that comes up for you? What is the way that you need to just begin walking? And I hope that you'll message me or let me know. Let me know what's coming up for you in the reviews. And I want to thank the people who bought me a coffee in the past few weeks. Kate, are you listening, Kate? I'm excited to discuss your art whenever you are ready. And for the rest of you, there's a link in the show notes and on my website and on Instagram, all of it, there's a link for something called Buy Me a Coffee. And that's a way for people to reach out to creators and podcasters, a way to support the mission of people whose work you've enjoyed. So if you are getting something out of this podcast, if you are using the tools I teach and talk about in your life, you can always buy me a coffee. And I always really appreciate that. Knowing that people are out there and using the ideas and concepts that have meant so much in my life, well, it's really gratifying. And sometimes I guess you're not really ready to try coaching. I guess. Maybe you aren't ready to have a completely free phone call or Zoom call with me. Or maybe that's your leap of faith. 45 minutes of talking to me about what you want to do, but you aren't currently doing. And don't worry, I'm not going to try and talk you into going all in on your dream or committing to veganism or starting a 100% whole food, plant-based diet today. I have no agenda for you. I just know that going plant-based and then vegan changed my life. And with that new self-concept, I was brave enough to try life coaching. And the ripple effects in my life have been endless. Coaching, getting coached, and then becoming a coach helped me access the confidence and the trust and the self-belief that I had lost sight of. Self-belief that allows me to take regular leaps of faith and to commit. Because honestly, it's the little ways we quit on ourselves, the little things we talk ourselves out of. I swear those are the things that take the biggest toll on our lives over time. So, knowing that I will not make you do anything, if you're curious about how life coaching would work for you and your goals, just sign yourself up in my calendar or email me at info@micheleolandercoaching.com or message me on Vedge Your Best. It's all super, super easy. The links are all in the notes. Who knows what will appear for you when you take that first step. Vedge Your Best podcast production, music, and editing by Charlie Weinshank. Thanks, Charlie. Before you go, it would mean so much to me and the Vedge Your Best team if you would hit subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, or share with someone you think might be interested. Something about algorithms, it helps bump us up a little in the rankings, and that's the best way to help others find the podcast and for us to find our audience. So, until next week, make it easy and veg your best.